Hi all, welcome to Security and Privacy Club. I am Jay Lavanya, Assistant Professor of CSE Department. So today in Unit 2, Security Design and Architecture for Cloud, we are going to see the topic about data protection strategies, data retention, deletion, and archiving procedures for tenant data. So first, what is meant by data protection strategies? So, a data protection strategy is an organized effort that includes all the measures implemented for the purpose of protecting the data in an organization. And data protection strategies, which typically involves like a multi-step process. So, what is meant by multi-step process that define? So, how you're going to secure the measures which are implemented and maintained. The main goal of data protection strategy is to minimize the footprint of sensitive data and secure business critical and regulated data. In particular, organizations use data protection strategies to prevent threat actors from gaining unauthorized access to data. And here, the data protection strategy can help organization standardize the security of sensitive data and corporate information, ensuring the privacy of customers and employees and the security of trade secrets. So this is all about data protection strategies. So why we are having data protection strategy is important. So to develop the customer trust in handling some sensitive data, the organizations, what they'll be doing is that they'll be demonstrating some transparency, integrity, and security in all stages of processing and collecting some personal data. And here, this is why data protection should be implemented as a core part of a business strategy. And here also, if you take data protection can be a difficult challenge for the majority of businesses today. Even large enterprises are struggling. So data breaches have a dramatically increased in number and size in recent years, having a massive impact on the reputation and finances of affected companies. And a recent study that shows average cost of a breach is close to 4 million and has been rising consistently for several years. According to risk-based security, in the first half of 2021 alone, there were 1767, that is 1,767 reported breaches across the world, which resulted in exposure of 18.8 billion records. See the changes, that is massive breach record. So as the cybercrime becomes increasingly sophisticated, regulatory entities create more stringent data protection laws that affect the companies and individuals worldwide. Many of these regulations require companies to establish clear rules and measures for protecting private information. And complying with these kind of data protection regulation, which requires some significant change to the processes and a shift in corporate culture. That can be difficult to achieve without a solid strategy in place. Okay, so that is why the data protection strategy is important. The next topic is about the data protection strategy. So what are the data protection strategies available is that which include these kind of components. So first one is that the data lifecycle management, second one data risk management, third one data backup and recovery, and fourth one data access management and control, fifth one data storage management, sixth one data breach prevention, and seventh one data protection policies and procedure. The next one standards and regulatory compliance, and last but not least it's about monitoring and reviewing. So here in data lifecycle management, so here we'll be using some kind of framework. Okay, so we'll be using have some framework that standardize some data processes in the organization from a data creation to storage, such that archives and until its final deletion. So data lifecycle management is a core component of a solid data protection strategy. So this is why the data lifecycle management is a very important component in a data protection strategy. Next one is that data risk management. So in order to properly protect the data, the organization must first identify and assess all the risks and threats that may affect the data. A data protection strategy which needs to take these kind of risks and threats into account, and it includes some measures designed to minimize the or to reduce these kind of risk. Okay. Next one is that data backup and recovery. So what is meant by data backup and recovery is that here in backup and recovery measures are critical component of a data protection strategies. So once the data is created, it should be backed up to ensure it can be recovered in case of a failure. A data protection strategy should define which types of data should be backed up and how the data should be recovered when disaster occurs and which storage medium they are going to use. And all of these measures should also be included in a business continuity and some disaster recovery initiative. That is, we used to call as a, I think you might have heard this, BCDR. Okay, business continuity and disaster recovery. That is a full form for this particular acronym, BCDR. Okay. And next one we are going to see is about data access management control. So here access control are a crucial aspect that should be properly implemented and maintained. And these controls ensure that only authorized users gain access to company data and systems and can prevent some unauthorized access, use or transfer of data. So this aspect is often examined and assessed by the some external auditors. The next one is that data storage management. So data storage management, it includes the task related to securely moving the production data into the data stores either on premises or an external cloud environment. So here in this storage management, there may be of data sources which is intended for frequent or high performance access, or some archival storage which is intended for some infrequent access. And next one is that data breach prevention. So in data breach prevention, it measures are implemented for the purpose of preventing unauthorized access to data. The goal is to prevent some external malicious archives or some internal threats from gaining some unauthorized access to some data or the particular system. And the cyber security measures are put in place for the purpose of preventing attacks on some internal networks, network perimeters, data in transit, and data at rest. And here, typically, these kind of measures, which include data encryption, implementation of antivirus software, like we are using like Kaspersky, something like this. So we can go for it, and protection against some ransomware or perimeter security hardware and software, and access management software. Okay. Next one is that data protection policies and procedures. So here the policies define what kind of data protection the particular organization is expecting, and based on that the procedures can able to define how these activities are implemented. And policies and procedures are both essential components of data management program, and it must be well documented because they are usually examined during an audit process. Okay. Next one is that standards and regulatory compliance. I think this kind of topic we have discussed in the previous topic, or you can just see that particular videos. In industry standards, which helps, like there will be some standard, right? For each and every industry, there will be some separate standards. So these kind of rules or these kind of aspects they have to follow. So for that, they will be helping the organization to maintain some adequate and current data protection. And also some regulatory compliance agencies define measures designed to protect the data in which organizations are obliged by the law to comply with. And each and every regulation is relevant to certain businesses, industries, and location. Perhaps the most common known regulation is the General Data Protection Regulation. That is, we used to call as a D GDPR. I think, I don't know, this you might have heard or not. This is a new one. GDPR, that is General Data Protection Regulation of the European Union. Here, which protects the private data of the individual citizens. Even though there are many other regulations and industry standards that organizers are required, a data protection strategy must account for all regulation and define how the organization should maintain some compliance. Okay. And last one is that monitoring and reviewing. So what is meant by monitoring and reviewing is that. So monitoring and reviewing here, we'll be having or we'll be processing or we'll be helping the organization to gain visibility into data activities, risk and control, which helps the improve protection and respond to threats and anomalies. And monitoring and review may also be necessary to meet the compliance requirements, and some ongoing monitoring provides visibility into all aspects of the data lifecycle that includes data creation, storage, transmission, archiving, and destruction. So these activities some offer essential evidence for both internal and external auditors that examine these kind of controls set in place for data protection and management. Okay, so this is all about the data protection strategy. So next topic is that data retention, deletion, and archiving procedures for tenant. So what does that mean by we can able to manage the tenant data effectively, which is critical for for some compliance or security and operational efficiency. So we will see what kind of procedures we have to follow for handling some tenant data. Okay, like data retention, deletion, and destruction. So the first one, the data retention policy. So here in data retention policy, the retention policies will be defining how long the tenant data is stored before deletion or archive. So policies may be varied or based on some regulatory compliance, say example GDPR, HIPAA, and SOC2, and a business need. I hope this we have seen in the last, right? GDPR, like General Data Protection Regulation, and these kind of things that is comes under data retention policies. And what are the types of tenant data for protection is that first one, active tenant data. So active tenant data will be using some files, configurations, logs, and transactional records, and backup data. So backup data here, it will be stored for some disaster recovery or some business continuity. If you're going for it, you can back up your data in the tenant. And audit and log data. So in our college, we'll be using going for a regular audit, like say in once in a month or 6 months once or 3 months once. We used to go for a or audit, right? Similar to that, we need for retention, we need some security and compliance purpose. Okay, so that is what the audit and log data. And next one is that configurable policies, tenants. Here, the tenants may be allowed to configure their own retention period within some allowed limits. I'll just see the example in the next slide. So this is the example. So here, in this retention, or is that in data type, we have seen the user data will be there. For example, the files can be of, or it can be of config. So the retention period the given is that active, that is plus 90 days. Okay, the purpose uses the business continuity. And next one, system logs, the data type, and retention, it can be from 6 months to 1 year. And it is the purpose is that for compliance and security audit it will be used. And for backups, the retention period is 30 days to 1 year, and like it is used in some disaster recovery. And for billing and payment records, it can be the retention period is about 7 years. So this is a maximum thing, right, when compared to the other data types. And here it is mainly used for some regulatory compliance. Okay, and next one is that audit trial. So audit trial, it's mainly used for some 1 to 5 years. And here also it is used for some security. investigation. Okay. And next one is that data deletion procedures. So here, uh, the secure deletion ensures that the tenant data is removed without any risk of recovery. Okay. So what is meant by that is that here there are so many types like we are going to discuss. The first one is that tenant initiated deletion. So the user requests the data via the UI or API or some separate request. And second one, subscription termination. So the data is deleted after a grace period following some account closure. So it will be giving some grace period, say for example, 1 month, or it can be of 1 year, or it can be of 15 days. So based on that subscription, it will be automatically taken. Even though you're not coming out from that subscription, it will be terminated. And compliance driven deletion here, it will be erased upon based on a tenant which he or she is requesting to meet the privacy regulation, that is GDPR right to erasure. So that's standard compliance. Based on that, it will be automatically deleted. Okay. And last one, automated cleanups. So like expired logs or backups or some temporary files in which it will be periodically deleted. Say for example, in our system or in a laptop, you can able to see in a command prompt if you're typing like tmp file, wherever the logs or the cache files which is stored in that, for example, temp folder, it will be deleted once in 14 or once in 15 days. And similar to that, the example we have seen is that in our mail, like junk mail or spam, it will be the trash, it will be automatically deleted within 15 days. You will have seen in the mail, right? So similar to that, here also we can able to expire some log format and backlog for periodically deletion. Okay, so this is about data deletion procedures. Next one is that secure deletion mechanism. So what are the secure deletion mechanisms? Is that the first one is that soft deletion. So there are so many types of deletion. So data is first marked for deletion and retained for grace period. Example 30 days. Like in our laptop, you could see like if you know you're deleting some particular file, it will be stored in the trash for some days, right? And after that only once you're deleting permanently from the trash, it will be just deleted, or else it will be just stored in the trash format, right? And example they have given like 30 days, right? And for hard edition, data is irreversibly erased from all storage system, including backup. If you're deleted, you can't able to recover that particular file. So that is an example for a hard deletion. And next one, data wiping. If you are securing override method, say example denial of des, that is DOD 5220.22m, which ensures the complete removal of that particular methods alone. Okay, based on method, you can able to override. By means of that, we can ensure these kind of standards has to be followed for data wiping. And next one, cryptographic shredding. So encryption freeze or destroy, making data unreadable. So by using some encryption freeze, we can able to destroy the data such that the third person or even the admin, whoever is using that particular system or the security or storage, whatever may be, he can't able to see that particular data. So that is called as cryptographic shredding. Okay. The next topic is that data archiving procedures. Okay, so what is meant by archiving? So archiving is nothing but it's used for some long-term storage of data that is no longer actively used, but is retained for compliance or for some historical purpose. So it can be used for long-term storage, but it's no longer actively used unless it can be retained or compliance or some historical purposes. Okay. Next one is that archiving strategies. So what are the archiving strategies we have seen is that the first one is that cold storage. So in this cold storage, so it moves some inactive data to some low cost storage solution. Example like AWS Glacier or in Microsoft Azure Blob Archive. We can inactive the data by means of some low cost storage solution. Okay. Next one, we know like what is mutable and what is immutable, right? So mutable is nothing but we can able to change the values, but whereas immutable, we can't able to change. Okay. Like ensures data by preventing the modification or deletion. Okay. Next one, compression and encryption. So compression and encryption is that it reduces the storage footprint and secures sensitive archive data. So here we can able to reduce like footprint or some security. We can able to archive the data. And next one, the retention based purging. So purging is that where we can archive the data which is deleted after some predefined period. So once we have archived the data which is deleted, and after some predefined period we can able to archive again. So that is what retention based purging. Okay. Next one is that access to archive data. So archive data remains accessible via some control interfaces. They'll be using some API, because the two servers or the two virtual private cloud can go for some interfaces or gateway. By means of that, we can able to archive the data. And second one is that retrieval times may be no longer, maybe longer depending on storage type. Example, some minutes to hours. So from minutes to hours, we can able to retain the data. Next one is that tenants may request a restoration for compliance audit or business need. So for archiving the data, the tenants may be using some restoration purpose for compliance audits or some business needs. Okay. And the next slide is about compliance and monitoring. So here, it follows some regulatory adherence, logging and auditing. Third one, user notification. And fourth one is that regular policy review. So here in regulatory adherence, the policies aligned with the GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, and some industry standards. And logging and auditing is that all retention, sorry, so for all retention, deletion, and archiving actions which are logged for transparency. And what about user notifications? So the tenants receive alerts based on some data deletion or archive actions. What's meant by regular policy review? So here it ensures alignment with evolving legal and business requirements. Okay. So for the main importance is that for building some cloud infrastructure for potential security vulnerabilities or some access control issues or data breaches, they'll be going for compliance standards like this same thing like GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, ISO 27001. Okay, so all those things comes under the policy or the compliance standard which is followed in data protection strategy. Okay, the key elements like they'll be using some regular assessment or automated monitoring tools or some alert and notification system and some remedial plans. Okay, so like regular assessment in the sense like periodically they'll be using some compliance audit to identify some area of concession and potential risk, and they'll be utilizing some cloud-based security platforms to continuously scan for vulnerabilities, misconfiguration, and suspicious activity, and they'll be setting up some alerts to notify relevant teams immediately when compliance issue rise. Okay, so what kind of remedial plan they'll be going is that they'll be establishing some procedures to address compliance issue promptly and effectively. So what are the challenges we could able to see in this compliance and monitoring is that like complex regulatory landscape will be occurring or dynamic cloud environment or data visibility. Like example scenario of cloud compliance monitoring is that user access control or data encryption, patch management, network security. Okay, so all those things comes under some use cases. So in compliance monitoring, if you take in like in real time, so in real time, if you take like we can go for some large aspects of SIME or CASB, that is Cloud Access Security Broker or Cloud Native Monitoring Tools like Azure Monitor, AWS CloudWatch, or GCP Diver, okay, or SIEM, that is Security Information Event Management. So by means of this kind of centralized platform, which is used for collecting, analyzing, or correlating security information or events across the cloud environments. Okay, so this is all about the compliance and monitoring. I hope you might have seen and you have cleared all the doubts regarding this kind of topics. So here we have discussed about what are the data retention, deletion, and archiving procedures for tenant data. There we have seen some three types: the data retention policy, data deletion procedure, and data archiving procedure. And last one, compliance and monitoring. And before that, we have seen about the data protection strategies, in which it follows some components. There are like we have seen about some 10 components, right? I hope this video is very useful. So thank you for your time. Thank you.